Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Shoutcast match brought to you by Ragoska. This replay was sent to me by this player Toast down here in the southern position in my Hotmail inbox, ragoskasc2@hotmail.com. Please feel free to send any replays right there. His opponent is going to be Finch, the yellow Protoss, spawning here at the 3 o'clock position. One thing I learned from the replay is Toast down here is a bronze level Zerg player. And Finch is also a master level Zerg player. It looks like he's playing his off race, as both these players are playing a custom game right now. So we'll see how this game transitions and plays out right now. A couple other things. I just got done watching the finals of the MLG Dallas, and it was an amazing match. I'm not going to tell you how it ended, as no spoilers, but it's just a great game. Got to definitely check that out. And as you see, both these players are spawning in close positions on Shattered Temple. So we'll see how this game gets away. Looking forward to watching the rest of the GSTL World event, or now as they put it's Korea versus Korea in the Final Four. But I'm looking forward to seeing how I'm MVP doing. He's kind of like my idol right now. Watching his Terran play is really kind of impressive. We see the probe scout here is going through and just checking out to see what he can see, as we do now have a gas going up for Toast. And we'll see if he decides to get that spawning pool as soon as he gets the 200 minerals. Meanwhile, the Protoss player is letting his minerals spike up to quite high before he gets that gateway thrown down, as he does start some more workers in production and getting that chrono boosted out right now. We do now have that spawning pool coming up for Toast, so it looks like he's going to be going for a gas pool build first, then transitioning probably to an expansion as soon as he gets to 300 minerals. We also have an assimilator going up for Finch. Could possibly be practicing his 4 warp gate play, as it is a pretty common Protoss strategy to use. And we'll see how that transitions right now, queuing up a lot of probes right here. Don't quite know if he actually is in Masters or not, but I'm going to go by the Toast's word and go for it. Either that or this is completely a different replay altogether. Not quite sure, but we'll see how this game progresses. It looks like it should be a good game. I've seen a lot of PvZ matchups, and they look like a good, fun matchup, as we do know how the Cybernetics score going down. Both players just currently sitting at about 18 supply. Looking at the APMs for the players, we see the yellow Protoss is way high, 160 to 16. It looks like just getting ready to block that expansion. Those Zerglings will quickly take that probe out of there, and here comes the drone for that hatchery. Gets that hatchery thrown down. Looking here, it looks like he's got pretty good Overlord placement. As far as scouting goes, though, he doesn't really have any indication of where his opponent is, so not too good in the scouting department. Doesn't really know what his opponent's building at all. Can't really tell if he's going any kind of rush or any kind of macro style. So you definitely want to make sure you get those Overlords in there to get that good scouting information, as you are now putting down a Roach Warren. Switching back over to the Everyone cam. Whereas Finch knows about that spawning pool timing, also knows about that expansion that's going up. Switch back over to the Everyone cam here. We do have that Warp Gate research being chrono boosted out right now. No units being produced right now, but we do have those 3 gateways going up. So it looks like, yep, we will be seeing a 4 Warp Gate push coming. No forward pylon as of yet, so we don't have any kind of indication of any kind of early pressure. Could definitely sneak a pylon here, which I know is really good on this map, because then you can warp in here. That's probably one of the best places I've seen a pylon, is if you put it down here by these gold minerals, you can just warp it across and then sneak into the natural from the side. Or you put it here, anywhere along here, and then once you get vision of the high ground, you can warp right in the top. But again, anywhere along this cliff face is pretty good, as far as I can tell. Do have the one Zergling here sitting outside. Looks like a pretty good indication he knows where his opponent is, but definitely want to poke up that ramp, see what you can see, as he is now throwing out that forward pylon, or at least a pylon in his base so he can warp outside, as we do not have the warp gates finishing, so we'll see what units he decides to warp in. With that much money, he probably could warp in around a good round of Stalkers. And we do now have 4 Zealots moving out across the map. Yep, and here comes the probe to put that forward pylon up. Let's see where he decides to put it. Yep, looks like he's going to put it right there. Nice spot to put that pylon. He can warp in right in front of the natural. Get good. We do now have 3 spine crawlers for defense going up for Toast. And with these roaches, he should be able to hold this attack off. The roaches take down the zealots pretty good, and the spine crawlers will be used on those stalkers, pulling those overlords back so he doesn't get the overlords killed and then run back on his supply counts. We do now have a second round of stalkers being warped in with this push, so let's see how this first push decides to transpire. Definitely getting a lot of damage on those zealots before the stalkers even come up. We'll be able to take those zealots out. Now focusing fire down on those stalkers. Stalkers doing some damage, pulling back, as we now have a round of zealots being warped in again. It looks like these units are just retreating back home. Now we do now have 8 Zerglings in production, so we'll see how he decides to transition out of this 4 warp gate pressure. If he decides to drone up, get a robo bay maybe, go for some blink play is altogether possible as well. Possibly even tech up to a Stargate. We'll just have to see what he decides to do. Now 14 Lings being produced for a Zerg player, as well as just starting to make probes again. It would be nice to see while he's got this player contained like this, just to get an expansion maybe put up when he gets to 400 minerals, just so he can start working on his economy. Take these 2 gases and maybe do some kind of tech play to transition out of this 4 warp gate. This 4 warp gate on its own really doesn't have much sustainability if you're not constantly producing workers after you pull it off. Now here we go, here we have another push coming in here. We do have the Zerglings moving up, getting decent surround on some of those zealots. These 2 roaches are way far ahead, gonna get picked off before they get back. Looks like we just have a little bit of micro coming here from these players. Looks like Toast is having a little bit of difficulty macroing while this engagement's going on. Let his money get up to about 700 while he could be... looks like, oh, now he's producing units out of here. Right after that micro stops, then he starts producing units again. You always want to, as you're moving your units forward, micro, and then as you're pulling them back, so basically click back here, build units, and then select those units again, and then micro back forward. So you kind of want to do that back and forth kind of thing. We do not have the Protoss player getting supply blocked, so it looks like he lost some kind of maybe took out one of his own pylons, supply blocked himself just a little bit. We do not have a Nexus going up for our Protoss player. Interesting, I wonder where he lost that pylon at. I'll have to take a look at that. Alright, we do now have a small engagement of Lings. Looks like he's going to be going to take out another pylon, which will potentially supply block our Protoss player again. Nope, looks like he had enough pylons up in time, as he is now working on getting the Nexus about halfway. Putting up a forge and another gateway, kind of just walling off his natural expansion. We do have a small engagement of Lings and Roaches here versus Zealot Stalker Sentry, and it looks like he's just getting ready to pull back. We'll see if they decide to engage here or not. So we do now have 3 more sentries being warped in, 5 roaches, also getting his extractor and drones. Here comes the engagement. Ooh, decides not to fully commit to that. Would have been kind of cool to see those Lings run up into the main. Meanwhile, while the roaches work on the army, possibly to harass the buildings in the front as they go to chase the Zerglings, as he did leave his base pretty much wide open. Possibly could have gotten up the ramp before those sentries got a force field off. Then again, you know, he probably could have gotten a force field up in time. It's pretty easy just to cast F and then click anywhere on this ramp to block it off. If you get a good force field, then all those Lings would have been surrounded and screwed. So it's probably a good thing that he didn't do that. He just decided to retreat, keep his army alive. Getting +1 ground weapons right now. Zerg player's going for double Evo chamber, as well as getting a macro hatch put into his main base. Oh, sorry, looks like he's spawning in his lair. My mistakes. Supply for our current players is 100 to 76, but it looks like he's going to need to produce some overlords in order to keep from being supply blocked. One thing I've noticed is Zerg is once you start getting a lot of larvae, you definitely want to start producing overlords 2 at a time, just so that way you keep yourself from getting supply blocked or getting stuck with a whole bunch of larvae and then not being able to produce because you don't have enough overlords. Would be kind of nice to see some of these overlords get used positioned across the map. Maybe put one here or up here so you can see the Protoss army moving out. Maybe put one in the back of the Protoss base in case you need to do like a Nidus play. Also, you know, getting one over here so you can kind of see how this expansion's doing. Just kind of getting them spread out across the map. Looks like you're getting ready to take break down these rocks, get ready to take your 3rd base. As a Zerg player, you typically, from what I've seen, they always try to expand away from their opponents. So maybe you want to go to this base over here, or this base over here, instead of taking the main third, because this is where the Protoss is going to want to be expanding as well. Leave yourself a little bit open for attacks. As we now have a kind of a base trade scenario going here, the Zerg is circling around one way, meanwhile the Protoss is circling around a second way. Alright, looks like these Stalkers are going to get free reign on these Spine Crawlers. Looks like they're taking down these Spine Crawlers pretty fast, as we get that third Spine Crawler going down. And then meanwhile these Zealots are just doing a number on these drones, as we do have some Roaches spawning. Meanwhile the reinforcements for our Zerg player just working on the natural player for them, so it looks like, yeah, we definitely have a base trade going on here. I'm going to try and switch back and forth between the action as best as I can. We've got the Roaches doing pretty good damage. Meanwhile, we've got the Zealots and the Stalkers and the Sentries doing as best as they can. Yep, so it definitely looks like some kind of base trade scenario. Getting lots of spines put up in his main. Meanwhile, those Roaches are doing a number on the Protoss base. Would have been kind of cool to see those Sentries block off the ramp, keep the Zerg player out. Meanwhile, he takes down his base. But it looks like the Protoss player is retreating from this attack. He's going to go home and try to defend his base, as the Cybernetics Core did go down. Now he's taking out those pylons. Meanwhile, we have the two armies clashing down here at the bottom of this ramp. Using a few of the Roaches to kind of funnel the, create like a choke point here at the bottom of the ramp to force these units up one at a time, which will allow these Roaches to do maximum damage on these first few units that are coming up. Really definitely slow down their advancement, which I think is definitely a great way to do that battle. We do meanwhile have Roaches spread out throughout the entire base. Looks like he's going to be able to take down the Protoss forces pretty quickly, as we do have the last of his army falling down. One Zealot being warped into the main, as we do have these 3 Zealots here working on these last couple of Roaches. We do have 6 more Roaches in production right here, so it looks like he's going to be able to take this out no problem. We've got the warp gate going down right here. Another Zealot, a couple more Zealots being warped in, as we do have a couple pylons coming up as well. Looks like he's just getting those pylons to turn these 2 warp gates back on. Meanwhile, this warp gate's going down. We do have a forge going up as well as the Cybernetics Core. So it looks like he's going to try and recover from this with trying to get some Stalkers out. But meanwhile, just building Zealots up here. And Roaches do pretty good against Zealots. Even without speed, they can do quite a bit of damage before they're taken down, just by simple kiting. You basically just figure out whichever Zealot's targeting the Roach, move that one back, move the Roach back, grab the next Roach, move it back, grab the next Roach, move it back. Meanwhile, all the rest of your Roaches are still there doing damage. You can actually get quite a bit of kills without taking any damage by doing it that way, as the Zealots forced to just chase your units around. We still have 6 more Roaches in production, so it doesn't look like he's doing any kind of larva injects during these engagements. And relatively no micro from these Roaches, but they're taking on the probes quite quickly. Probes keep falling, warping in a couple of Zealots from the back, so it looks like he's going to kind of pinch her off these attacks. It looks like these Roaches are going to get cleaned up. Looks like the Protoss player's alive for just a little bit longer, but supply-wise, he's quite far behind now, 42 over 27 or 21. Getting another warp gate building up, as we do now have more Roaches funneling into the Protoss base. 10 Roaches in all. Looks like he's going to be able to do quite a bit of damage to all these probes. I feel like our workers killed. We've got 33 workers killed for the Protoss player, 13 the drones killed for the Zerg. Meanwhile, we just have another small Protoss ball sitting out here, but this is not really going to be any match for this Zerg player, as he will be able to take these buildings out, as we do now have even more Roaches being rallied to the base. And it looks like he's just force fielding for force field's sake. He's just kind of holding on as long as he can. With as little probes as he has left, though, it's going to be over quite quickly. And there's the GG from Finch. Thank you for tuning into this broadcast. If you enjoy my channel, please subscribe down below. If you have any replays you want me to cast, send them to my Hotmail inbox or at ghostsc2@hotmail.com. Also, please feel free to leave any comments on my YouTube channel. Any way I can help improve my play or my casting is always greatly appreciated. Also, check out www.thestarcast.com for all your StarCast needs and StarCraft needs. Thank you. Have a good day.